You gave your all. You loved with fire, loyalty, and grace. And still, he let you go? Let me tell you something. He didn't lose just a woman. He lost a force of nature. In order for us to take up less known, to take up less looked down, you have to let go and look and see you are shattered by sorrow. You have to be light, bright. Lord, look up. And one day, when silence becomes your loudest answer and success becomes your new love language, he'll regret losing the woman who knew how to love and rebuild herself at the same time. This speech is for every woman who has ever been underestimated, overlooked, or replaced, but chose to rise instead of rage. She walked away with grace, not drama. And that decision alone made her unforgettable. She could have screamed. She could have exposed every lie, every betrayal, every moment of pain. But she didn't. Because a good woman knows that power isn't always loud. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence. Silence that carries dignity. Silence that speaks volumes. She didn't curse him out, post cryptic messages, or beg for closure. She simply adjusted her crown, took a deep breath, and walked out, like the queen she is. Think about it. Have you ever seen a lioness announce her exit? No. She just disappears into the wild, and you feel the absence. That's what she did. Her absence became louder than any words she could have screamed. He felt it in the quiet moments, when his phone didn't light up at 2 a.m. anymore, when no one reminded him to eat, to chase his goals, to be a better version of himself. She didn't leave to make him miss her. She left because she realized she was missing herself. You see, grace is not weakness. Grace is strength wrapped in self-respect. In a world that teaches women to be loud to be heard, she chose grace as her language. A language so rare, it echoes long after she's gone. Let's be honest, drama fades, but dignity, that's unforgettable. He might not remember every fight, but he will never forget the moment she left without a word. Imagine a daily life scenario. A woman finds out her partner has been entertaining someone else. Most would retaliate, throw things. It was a scene. But not her. She deleted the messages, closed the door, and booked herself a solo trip instead. She didn't need revenge. She needed healing. While he expected chaos, she delivered silence. While he waited for her to break, she went and built herself. That's what walking away with grace looks like. Another example, a working woman who gave her all to a toxic office only to be overlooked repeatedly. Instead of a breakdown, she handed in her resignation, thanked the team, and smiled on her way out. Months later, she was heading her own business, winning awards. And those same people who once ignored her, they were reposting her success on LinkedIn with fake applause. Grace doesn't just move you forward. It haunts those who never believed in you. Even in friendships, the pattern is the same. That friend who used her, competed with her, and always made her feel like less, she didn't call her out publicly. She just stopped answering the phone. She stopped explaining her worth to people committed to misunderstanding it. Chooses grace over drama, understands one truth. The world might not clap when you choose yourself quietly, but your future self will thank you for not lowering your standards to match someone else's chaos. She knows that revenge is temporary satisfaction, but self-respect is permanent peace. And one day, whether it's a moment of loneliness or reflection, he will remember the woman who didn't explode, she evolved. Who didn't destroy his world, she built hers. And by the time he realizes what he lost, she will have become everything he was too blind to see. She focused on her glow up, not his payback. Because the real victory isn't making him suffer. It's making herself shine so bright that he needs sunglasses just to remember what he lost. When a good woman is hurt, her first instinct might be to prove a point, to make him regret, to show him the storm he created by taking her love for granted. But then something shifts. She looks in the mirror, sees the fire in her own eyes, and realizes she doesn't have time to ruin someone else when she's too busy rebuilding herself. Glow up isn't just physical, it's emotional, spiritual, financial, and mental. She started hitting the gym, not to impress another man, but to feel strong again. She began investing in books, journaling, prayer, meditation. She dressed up even when she had nowhere to go, just to remind herself of her worth. That's what a glow up is. It's not for him, it's for her. It's the quiet transformation that says, I will never let pain define me, only refine me. Think of the single mother who was left to raise her child alone. The easy path would be bitterness. But instead of drowning in resentment, she built herself, enrolled in online courses at night, held down 2 jobs, and saved every penny. Today, she walks her child to school wearing confidence like a perfume. No man, no situation, no betrayal could dim her light. That is the glow up that can't be denied. Take another example. The woman who was cheated on after years of loyalty. She didn't key his car or expose him online. She unfollowed him, blocked him, and booked herself a spa day. She replaced anxiety with yoga, tears with goals, and pain with prayer. 6 months later, her energy was unmatched. She radiated so much peace, people started asking her, what changed? She smiled and said, I stopped chasing closure and started chasing my future. Even in professional life, the glow up is powerful. A woman constantly overlooked for promotion, dismissed in meetings, and passed over because of politics. She didn't storm out. She upgraded her skills, built her portfolio, and made herself impossible to ignore. Eventually, she got an offer from a bigger company, better pay, more respect. And her old boss, he saw her on the cover of a business magazine. That's the kind of glow-up revenge that doesn't shout. It stuns. She focused on her skin, her smile, her space. She took herself on dates, wore her favorite lipstick just to go to the grocery store. She reminded herself daily that being alone is better than being disrespected. She posted pictures, not for likes, but as a digital journal of rebirth. People started seeing the difference, but more importantly, she felt the difference. She didn't waste time crafting the perfect I told you so. Life did it for her. Her glow up became the loudest answer to the silence he left behind. The man who thought she'd never move on now watches her from afar, wondering how she became everything he was too blind to see. Because a woman who chooses self-love over self-destruction doesn't just rise, she evolves. Her glow-up is not to prove him wrong, but to prove herself right. That she was always enough, even when someone else failed to see it. She didn't wait for karma to serve him a lesson. She became the lesson. The kind of woman who doesn't clap back because her success does all the talking. She chose peace over proving her worth, because a woman who knows what she brings to the table doesn't have to beg for a seat at it. There's a power in walking away from arguments that serve no purpose, from people who see your light but still choose to shade it, from relationships that constantly ask you to prove, perform, and plead just to be seen. She realized that peace wasn't just something nice to have. It was survival, a sanity. Her spirit, her soul deserved better than constantly having to justify her existence. In a relationship where she was constantly misunderstood, where every word turned into a debate, every emotion became an accusation, she learned something important. She could keep talking, trying, hoping he'd get it, or she could stop. Stop explaining herself to someone committed to misunderstanding her. And that moment of silence, that was her liberation. She didn't yell, she didn't cry, she just smiled, packed her truth, and left with it. That's peace. That's real strength. Think about the girl who loved deeply, but always felt like she had to compete with his distractions. His phone, his ego, his past. She could have thrown ultimatums. She could have begged him to see her. But instead she stepped away quietly and chose herself. She chose nights without anxiety, mornings without doubt. No more crying in bathrooms or decoding mixed signals. Just stillness. Just freedom. Take the workplace example. The woman constantly overlooked, the one who gave her all, but still got questioned. She could have shouted her accomplishments, slammed her resignation, or exposed the bias. But instead, she gathered her excellence, kept her grace, and left when it was time. Not in anger, but in peace. She knew her worth didn't need a loud announcement. It just needed a new environment. And when she flourished elsewhere, the people who once ignored her suddenly remembered her name. Even in friendships, this lesson repeats. The woman who always listened, always supported, but got silence in return. She could have called them out, demanded loyalty, forced loyalty. But instead, she stopped showing up where she wasn't appreciated. She created space for new energy, new connections, new beginnings. That's what choosing peace looks like. It's not passive, it's powerful. One of the most mind-blowing things about a woman who chooses peace is how magnetic she becomes. She doesn't chase, she doesn't scream, she doesn't compete. She simply exists in her calmness. And that calmness, it drives people crazy. Because you can't manipulate someone who doesn't need validation from the outside. You can't play games with someone who's already won the battle within. Her mornings now begin with gratitude, not overthinking. Her nights end with prayer, not pain. She stopped defending her kindness, her dreams, her love. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access to her heart. And that's okay. She no longer needed to be louder to be heard. She just needed to be quieter to feel her soul. She became the woman who didn't chase applause. She walked in peace and let the energy speak for itself. She didn't need to argue to be right. She didn't need to prove to be valuable. Her silence became sacred. Her solitude became strength. The woman who once explained herself to everyone finally chose herself, and that choice rewrote her entire story. She used her pain to power her purpose, because some women break under pressure, but she broke open, and inside that heartbreak, she found fire. There was a time when she cried herself to sleep, not because she was weak, but because she carried love in a world that didn't know how to hold it. He betrayed her, he lied, he left. And in the silence that followed, she had two choices. Stay buried under the weight of what happened, or rise up and become something that pain could no longer touch. Yoshitata, she chose the second. She turned every tear into fuel, every wound into wisdom, and every rejection into redirection. You see, she realized something. Pain is not just something you survive, it's something you can use. That hurt that was supposed to destroy her became the reason she built something unstoppable. She started writing. Her journal turned into poetry, her poetry into a book, her book into a platform that now helps women across the world feel seen. And it all started the night she thought she'd never smile again. A daily life example? Think about the woman who was told she wasn't good enough to chase her dreams. They mocked her accent, her background, her education. But instead of letting the world convince her she wasn't enough, she enrolled in night classes, worked weekends, and built her brand from scratch. Today, she owns the business they laughed at, and every dollar she earns, every email she sends, every room she walks into is powered by the pain she once prayed would go away. Or the woman who faced infertility while others posted baby showers. She felt invisible, broken, forgotten. But she didn't let the pain make her bitter. She let it make her brave. She became a voice for women like her. Started a podcast, a support group, a safe space. She used the ache in her heart as a bridge to connect with others. And that connection, that became her purpose. Even in grief, she found power. She lost someone she loved dearly, a parent, a partner, maybe a sibling, the kind of loss that makes the world go silent. But she didn't let it end her. She started a charity in their name. She ran marathons, raised awareness, stood on stages, sharing stories that healed others. Her pain gave her a platform, and her purpose gave her peace. And it wasn't just the big moments. Sometimes the pain came in small doses. The constant judgment, the body shaming, the comparison. Every time someone tried to dim her light, she lit another candle. She turned off the noise and turned up her potential. Went to therapy, picked up a paintbrush, took that yoga class, started that business. Bit by bit, she stitched herself back together with the threads of purpose. Because here's the truth, the most unstoppable women are the ones who took the very thing that tried to bury them and used it to bloom. She didn't run from her pain. She stared it in the face and said, "Watch what I build with what you left behind." That's not just strength, that's transformation. That's legacy. That's what happens when a woman stops asking, "Why me?" and starts declaring, "Try me." She reinvented herself without begging for him back. Because the woman he walked away from no longer exists. And the woman she's becoming wouldn't even recognize the version of herself that used to cry for someone who couldn't see her worth. She didn't need closure. She didn't need one last conversation, one last kiss, or one more chance to prove she was enough. She took the heartbreak, the silence, the unanswered questions, and turned it into motivation. While he was expecting her to chase, to fall apart, to beg for his presence, she was busy building her power. She didn't send paragraphs. She sent a message to herself. I deserve more. Every day, she chose healing over hoping he'd change. Every morning, she got up and made herself better, not bitter. She started eating healthier, exercising, glowing from the inside out. Not to make him jealous, not to catch his attention, but because she was finally choosing her. And when you start choosing yourself over someone who couldn't choose you, everything changes. That's the moment you stop existing for someone's validation and start living for your own evolution. Think of the woman who was ghosted after giving her all. Love, support, time, effort. Instead of texting, "Why did you leave?" she got up, fixed her resume, applied to a job she'd been too afraid to try, and landed it. She didn't need a man to give her identity. She gave herself a title worth honoring: resilient, unshakable, reinvented. Or the girl who lost herself in a relationship where she was always an option, never a priority. She used to shrink herself to fit into his world. Now she's expanding into one of her own. She started therapy, took solo trips, wrote affirmations on her bathroom mirror until they turned into beliefs. One day she looked around and realized she no longer felt like a half searching for her other half. She was whole, on her own. Even in motherhood, there's a story. The woman who was abandoned while carrying his child, left to raise a life alone. She could have begged him to come back, but instead she embraced her strength. She worked night shifts, studied during nap times, and raised that child with every ounce of love she had. Today she walks into school meetings with confidence, not regret. Because she didn't just survive, she thrived. Reinvention isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about proving you didn't stay broken. She changed her hairstyle, but more importantly, she changed her mindset. She stopped asking, "What's wrong with me?" and started asking, "What's next for me?" She stopped checking her social media and started checking off goals from her vision board. She dressed up not for dates, but for herself. She laughed louder, dreamed bigger, and moved through life with the grace of someone who knows. If he couldn't see her worth, that was his blindness, not her failure. She became the kind of woman that makes men regret walking away, not because she turned cold or hard, but because she became untouchable in her softness, powerful in her peace, rare in a world full of replicas. Not enough to make you cry. She didn't rewrite the past, she reinvented the future. Not once did she lower herself to get him back, because deep down she knew the woman I'm becoming doesn't need what I once settled for. And that's the real glow. That's the reinvention that doesn't come from revenge, it comes from rebirth. A woman who rises without resentment, who elevates without explanation, and who rebuilds without reaching back. She became the woman every man wants, but only the right one can keep. Because she carries a presence that isn't just beautiful, it's commanding. A presence that doesn't beg to be noticed, but effortlessly demands respect. She's not just a pretty face, she's a mindset, a vibration. A woman with depth, wisdom, and standards sculpted from the pain she overcame. She used to be the woman who gave endlessly, hoping for love in return. Now, she gives with discernment, with intention, with boundaries that protect her soul. Every man may be drawn to her light, but not every man is ready to handle the fire she carries within. She's evolved past surface attraction. What captures her now is emotional intelligence, loyalty, purpose. Because she is no longer a woman who settles, she is a woman who selects. Think about the girl who used to bend just to keep the peace, who used to tolerate disrespect because she feared being alone. Now she sits at tables where peace is served first. She no longer fears solitude because she's made peace her closest friend. She became the woman who would rather walk alone than walk in the wrong direction with someone who doesn't know how to lead with love. Take the woman who was once cheated on and lied to. She cried, she questioned, she collapsed into herself. But instead of staying broken, she rebuilt herself, brick by brick, with grace and grit. She stopped obsessing over why he did it and started focusing on why she deserved better. Now she's the kind of woman who walks into a room and shifts the energy, not because of what she wears, but because of what she won't tolerate. Or the woman who turned her pain into purpose. She's got vision now. Her life is filled with goals, ambition, and clarity. She doesn't entertain confusion because she's too busy chasing alignment. Men admire her, crave her presence, want to touch her world, but she's not moved by sweet words or temporary promises. It takes more than attraction to earn a place in her life now. It takes consistency, respect, action. Even in motherhood, she stands out. The woman who balances raising children, chasing dreams, and maintaining her peace isn't just a woman. She's a force. She became the kind of woman who inspires her daughters to be strong and her sons to know what strength really looks like. And when a man sees her holding her world together with elegance, he's either intimidated or inspired. There's no in between. She's magnetic, but she's not easily moved. Flirting won't win her. Games won't keep her. Manipulation won't confuse her. Because she's been through too much and healed too deep to fall for the same old patterns. She's been through too much and healed too deep to fall for the same old pattern. The wrong man will want her for her softness, her loyalty, her beauty. But the right man will fight to deserve her, to protect her softness, to grow beside her. She became the type of woman who doesn't just complete a man's life, she elevates it. She brings peace, passion, partnership. She doesn't come to take. She comes to build. And because of that, men may desire her, but only the one who truly values her soul, not just her smile, will be able to keep her. She said this. Men may desire her, but only the one who truly values her soul, not just her smile, will be able to keep her. She said this to me. She's not a reward for the charming. She's the blessing for the prepared. She doesn't chase anymore, she attracts. She doesn't beg anymore, she embodies. She doesn't fear being misunderstood because the right one will already get her without explanation. And now, here she stands, not broken, not bitter, but reborn. She's the woman who turned her pain into purpose, her silence into strength, and her heartbreak into a personal revolution. She didn't wait for an apology. She didn't wait for him to come back. She didn't wait to be saved. Because she realized the hero she was praying for was always within her. This isn't just a glow up. This is a rise, a rebirth, a reawakening. You see, when a woman finally realizes her worth, the entire universe rearranges to match her vibration. When she stops begging for love and starts embodying love, everything around her transforms. She becomes a mirror, reflecting power, elegance, wisdom, and grace. She no longer asks, "Am I enough?" She declares, "I've always been more than enough." She no longer fights for a spot in someone's life. She no longer auditions for love. Because she is the main character now, not an extra in someone else's story. She doesn't need to be liked, she needs to be respected. She doesn't crave attention, she creates impact. She doesn't hope for love, she is love. And the man who walked away, he'll feel it one day. Maybe when he sees her smiling without him. Maybe when he stumbles across her name in a success story. Maybe when he sees another man hold her the way he never knew how to. And in that moment, regret will hit like thunder. Because the woman he lost no longer exists, and the woman she became, he never deserved. She is no longer the one who cries for someone to stay. She is the one they wish never walked away. Remember this: a woman's power is not in her ability to hold on to someone who's slipping. It's in her courage to let go and still choose love. To let go and still choose peace. To let go and still believe in herself. As Maya Angelou once said, still like dust I rise. As Priyanka Chopra declared, I don't chase people, I attract them. I don't beg, I elevate. And as Oprah Winfrey reminded the world, turn your wounds into wisdom. This is not the end of her story, it's the rebirth of her soul. She's the woman who walks with fire in her heart and calm in her eyes. She's the woman who walks with fire in her heart and calm in her eyes. She's the woman who speaks less and says more. She's the woman who stopped trying to be understood and started being undeniable. She's the woman who made her past a platform, her scars a statement, and her silence a symphony. To every woman listening, let this be your reminder that you were never meant to be ordinary. You were never meant to be someone's maybe. You are someone's answered prayer, someone's inspiration, someone's standard. So when they remember you, let them remember the one who didn't chase, didn't beg, didn't break. Let them remember the woman who rose. Let them remember that she was the one who could have crumbled, but chose to conquer. Let them remember that losing her wasn't just a mistake. It was a loss of a lifetime. And to every man listening, if you ever find a good woman who walks away without a war, understand this: she didn't leave because she didn't care. She left because she finally realized her peace was worth more than your potential. She wasn't the storm, she was the calm before it. And when you lost her, you didn't just lose love. You lost a legacy.